YouTube, bruh. I clicked on this video. It said YoungBoy, real killer of fake gangster, right? So I'm like, damn, this whole sound good. Nigga, this bitch is 5 out. Nigga, this longer than a movie, nigga. But what? Nigga, this nigga was dedicated. Look, hey, I appreciate the dedication, cause nigga, I couldn't do it. But let's go ahead and get to the video. Look, I wanna go ahead and let y'all know, nigga, I'm not reacting to the whole 5 hours in one sitting, my nigga. Look, I'm gonna react. If y'all want me to come back with a part 2, let me know down in the comments. But look, welcome new subscribers, new people. Nigga, we almost at 600. So go ahead, like the video, comment, subscribe, share. Look, we only gonna make it 20-30 minutes into this video. I promise you, y'all. No, there's no way in hell. There's no way I'm sending 5 out. No. Let's go ahead and get to the video, bro. Let's go ahead and get to the video.
Video contains themes of violence, death,
hey, get you
and
some
gang
snacks.
activity.
Get you some
The
snacks.
purpose of this
I got
video is to
pretzels.
provide an educational
Lean
account
back
of
and chill.
historical events in the mainstream music industry. No disrespect is intended. This video does not intend to glorify or glamorize the gang lifestyle.
Okay.
Every effort has been made to remove anything from this video that goes against YouTube's community guidelines, including swearing and violence.
Okay.
But if you'd like to see a fully uncut version of this video with everything I can't show you on YouTube, then head on over to patreon.com/traplawross, where you can watch all of my biggest documentaries uncut for just $2. But if you're not into that, just hit the subscribe button and enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you. Over the last 5 years, there's been few rappers that have generated as much excitement and controversy as YoungBoy. His music is personal, thought-provoking, and violent in equal measure. He's one of the few artists who can top the Billboard charts with music all about killing, death.
Yeah!
But his ability to communicate the stark realities of life growing up in the dangerous slums of Baton Rouge have inspired people all over America and the world at large. YoungBoy's experiences in the gang-infested slums of Louisiana, where it's kill or be killed, inspired a generation of downtrodden youngsters to struggle through the pain too. Because despite losing family members and being the target of numerous assassination attempts, YoungBoy has always managed to come out on top. Not just surviving, but beating the odds and coming back bigger every single time. It's rare to find an artist who attracts this much love and hate all at the same time. And YoungBoy's thugged out survival anthems for the streets have made him one of the most beloved artists in history. But his influence has a dark side too, because some might say that his aggressive murder anthems are inspiring a generation of lost teenagers to slide and resort to violence just like he had to. But can YoungBoy really be blamed? When basketball player Ja Morant ended up in hot water for flashing a gun in a strip club to YoungBoy's music, many people suggested that this was YoungBoy's fault. And considering just how...
Nigga, what? YoungBoy fault? Nigga did not tell the nigga Ja Morant to put that damn gun in the camera, boy. What? Nigga talking about it's YoungBoy fault. Y'all niggas will blame any nigga for any... Bro, shut up. Nigga, that doesn't make... But... Nigga, I need to stop pausing. We got too long.
How many lives seem to have been lost as a direct result of YoungBoy's career, whether it's the murder of rival Baton Rouge rapper G Money, to the slaying of YoungBoy's beloved manager Big Dump, or even the killing of Chicago rap legend King Von, seemingly a self-defense shooting, the result of Von trying to fight one of YoungBoy's friends. To say YoungBoy and his NBA crew are dangerous would be an understatement. But is the group of people that YoungBoy surrounds himself a gang of loose cannons shooting first and asking questions later, or are they just really a family of youngsters with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that they would put their lives on the line to protect? Over the course of his career, so many people have died that YoungBoy even refers to himself as the Murder Man, and claiming in numerous songs to have been the direct cause of as many as 7 murders in his hometown. Over the years, many people have questioned the authenticity of YoungBoy's gangster image.
You got Cap in your raps. YoungBoy talking about on this song, bro.
In spite of all of the violence surrounding his career, in 2022, YoungBoy had a change of heart, perhaps coming the result of reflecting on all of the destruction and pain that had been caused by his music career, or as a result of years of legal battles that have seen YoungBoy endlessly confined to a cell or on house arrest. Because recently, he's been calling to stop the violence, pledging in interviews to stop promoting murder and violence in his songs, and even taking steps to de-escalate the conflict with his most hated rivals in Baton Rouge, with YoungBoy's crew even sharing the stage with their mortal enemy Fredo Bang for a special charity concert aiming to stop the violence.
Hey,
but that said, even these intentions have been called into question, when after pledging to stop the violence, YoungBoy continues to drop violent murder anthems back to back. So, the $50 million question remains unanswered. Is YoungBoy really a gravedigger, the self-proclaimed murder man of Baton Rouge, really serious about stopping the violence? Or is this all just a ploy to try and avoid the responsibility for convincing a generation of teenagers to pick up a gun and get active in the streets? Well, today we're going to take a closer look at the murders, the music, and the man, and decide once and for all, is YoungBoy really as dangerous as they say he is?
Nigga, this is a 5-hour question?
It's either you gonna die, or you gonna be a bum, or you gonna be successful, or you gonna go to jail. And the reason I hate that way is because the scary part, I don't know the one I'm gonna do.
I can't, bro.
But I ain't dumb though. You hear me? And the people who play that role to y'all, them know I ain't dumb. The people who really know me, they know I ain't dumb. You hear me? How the f I came this far? You think I came this far by being dumb? Oh man.
Talk to him. Talk to him.
Today's story takes place in the state of Louisiana. Louisiana is in the United States Deep South, a historic region of the US with a dark history. The Deep South has had deep ties to the historic slave trade, with these particular states like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia historically being heavily dependent on the plantation system, which saw black people kidnapped from their native lands in Africa and put to work against their will in cotton fields for the benefit of white Americans. Even after the Confederate States lost the Civil War and slavery was abolished, racism continued to cast a shadow over Louisiana for many years. Attempts were made to restrict free black people from voting, and racist organizations like the White League were formed in Louisiana to terrorize,
The White League?
and target the black
Nigga, they
community.
hooping?
Eventually, after World War II, in the face of the Civil Rights Movement, black people in Louisiana finally begun to exercise their right to vote. And in 1960, this saw the establishment of groups like the Louisiana State Sovereignty Commission with an aim to battle racial segregation in the state, particularly in schools. During these years of segregation, it's believed that many African Americans fled Louisiana to states like California, seeking better treatment and opportunities. However, analysis by William Frey suggested that in decades that followed, due to better civil rights in Louisiana, many black migrants were actually attracted back to the state. But despite these improvements, however, Louisiana still remained a difficult place to grow up black through the 90s and the noughties. The state's incarceration rates have been at the very top in the world for decades now. And although black people are a minority in the state of Louisiana, the majority of the population in correctional facilities have been black. Louisiana has the second highest poverty rate in America, and here too, black people seem to suffer the worst. Moreover, the devastating events of Hurricane Katrina and subsequent flooding left tens of thousands of Louisiana residents stranded, with those affected being disproportionately African American. And the poor efforts to rescue these black people in danger had many people questioning if the state really even cared about their black citizens.
Hell
George
no.
Bush doesn't care about black people.
Now look, you might be wondering,
I like
what the hell
that,
does it
Kanye. I like
have to do
that
with
out of you.
YoungBoy? Well, in my opinion, it's important to understand the history of where he comes from, to understand the environment that created the man, as well as the inherent challenges of growing up as a young black man in Louisiana. But that said, there's also plenty of positive influences stemming from YoungBoy's Louisiana upbringing. Despite the state's difficult history when it comes to slavery and civil rights, over the years, the state's multiculturalism would become an asset, spawning creative and artistic communities. Louisiana has a long and rich history when it comes to music. In the early 1800s, the influx of enslaved Africans brought with them a diverse array of musical traditions and talents. Musical traditions which merged with the existing French, Spanish, and Native American influences in Louisiana. The fusion of these diverse cultural elements led to the birth of unique musical styles such as Creole music and jazz. Then, during the Civil War, music would play a significant role in both the North and the South. In Louisiana, Confederate songs and abolitionist tunes were composed, reflecting the region's divided sentiments on the issue. Some people wanted slavery to end, and their ops wanted it to continue. And you could probably argue that these might represent some of the earliest examples of diss songs, with soldiers on both sides of the Civil War actually playing music that would hype up their troops and boost morale to prepare them for battle. After the Civil War, as time would go on, Louisiana creatives would continue to experiment with music. Blues music is believed to have originated in the Deep South in the late 1800s and early 1900s.
Yes, sir.
The African American communities in New Orleans are credited with pioneering jazz music in the early 1910s. And in the 1950s, more new musical genres emerged, like swamp pop, where young Cajuns and Creoles would combine traditional French Louisiana music with New Orleans-style rhythm and blues and country and western music, as well as the more low-tempo swamp blues originating in the black communities of southwest Louisiana. Into the 50s and 60s, the civil rights movement would further impact Louisiana's music scene, as African-American musicians leveraged their talents to amplify the call for racial equality, often using their platforms to shed light on the struggles that they had faced. R&B and soul music, with their origins in gospel and blues, would become vehicles for expressing the aspirations of the African-American community. And then, of course, as hip-hop emerged in the 80s and boomed through the 90s, a whole wave of aspirational southern rappers would emerge from Louisiana's biggest cities. In New Orleans, modern rap was pioneered by Master P and his No Limit clique, later being taken to brave new heights in hip-hop's bling era by the likes of Cash Money Records, headed by Birdman and his prodigy.
What you know about it? What you know about it?
Who arguably go on to become one of the greatest rappers of all time, and my personal favourite. And while the flashy antics of bling rappers might come across to some as tasteless, others would be inspired by these emerging black role models who were showing the world through artistry that a persecuted black man in the Deep South could become a multi-millionaire and build generational wealth off the back of sharing their lived experience through music. Now, things still aren't perfect, but the success of rap music in the Deep South represents a triumph over repression to me. And I'm telling you all of this because all of this history is very important context. Because the social circumstances that persisted in Louisiana over hundreds of years all led up to a single moment in time, where the perfect circumstances existed to create one of the modern day's most exciting and controversial music artists. People in Louisiana have been using their music to express their pain and tell their perspective on life for hundreds of years. And in the modern day Louisiana, one voice stands out above all others. The voice of a young boy who experienced one of the harshest upbringings modern day Louisiana had to offer. And that young boy was able to put all of his pain, trauma, and triumphs into his music. Modern day music that is still unmistakably southern. So, now you know the city, let's take a closer look at that young boy, the young boy.
If your ass don't chill out talking about this young boy.
Was born Kentrell Deshaun Gordon in 1999. And over the years, he's been known by many names. NBA Youngboy Never Broke Again, Top, YB, AI Youngboy, and the list goes on. Now, Youngboy by no means had it easy as a kid. He grew up on the north side of Baton Rouge, more specifically North 38th Street and Chippewa Street. This led to another nickname that appears frequently in Youngboy's songs and albums, 38 Baby. In fact, Youngboy's legendary lyrics about 38th and Chippewa, where he grew up, has even attracted superfans who would film themselves driving down the very streets that Youngboy would play on as a child. But life on 38th Street was not kind to a young Youngboy.
Hey, fun fact, bro. That was like 38 Baby was my first song, bro. Nigga, bro, the way I found out about this damn song, bro, I would never forget because my brother, my god brother, that nigga lied. Nigga said, bro, that's my brother, bro. We finna blow. And tell me why my dumb ass believed his ass. But I'm like, okay, this shit hard, boy. We out. We did not, bro.
Father Jeffrey Staden wasn't in his life growing up.
That's why I don't like niggas, man.
Niggas sentenced to 55 years in jail.
Shout out to my guy, brother.
Was just 8 years old. This monster sentence was punishment for the armed robbery of a Baton Rouge convenience store on December the 1st, 2009. Youngboy's father, along with 3 other men, one of whom was his brother Dallas, had apparently robbed Albie's convenience store on North Sherwood Forest. The robbery got ugly, and Youngboy's father shot the store clerk in the leg during this altercation. This would earn him charges of armed robbery and attempted first-degree murder. He would plead not guilty, and after a jury trial, the state would find him guilty as charged on 2 counts, getting himself 10 years for the robbery and 50 years for the attempted murder. 50? Many years later, Youngboy would even reference his father's incarceration, rapping on the song Cross Me that it was actually his uncle, his father's brother, that was there for the robbery, who snitched and got him 55 years in jail. As well as referencing his father's plight on the song Where the Love At, where he raps that he prays he doesn't become an alcoholic like his father, as well as paying respects and suggesting that his father needs a second chance at life because robbing people for their money was how he was trying to provide for his family. It seemed like both sides of Youngboy's family had a history of robbery, as his uncle on his mother's side was also an alleged known robber in Baton Rouge. However, unfortunately, he would suffer a worse fate than Youngboy's father. Andy Golden, The uncle who YoungBoy referenced a couple of times in his music was apparently shot in the head during a robbery attempt. YoungBoy mentions on the track Acquittal how he heard stories about how his uncle was shot in the head, implying that their relationship was most likely non-existent if YoungBoy had to rely on stories to hear all about his life. As well as in the track R.I.P. Lil Dave, when YoungBoy speaks of his uncle who got shot in the head and died while hitting a lick. Further references to this are heard on the track 38 Baby, when YoungBoy outright declares that Andy Gordon...
Andy Gordon was my Uncle Robin. Bruh, I seen this song like damn near all the time. Like, I ain't never, bro. What? I gotta go listen to it.
Was his uncle, which means that robbery is in his genes. I mean, just take a second to think about the situation that YoungBoy was dealing with here as a child. His father is serving 55 years for robbery, with one uncle who snitched on him, and his other uncle was also a prolific robber who got shot in the head and killed
that
during
nigga
a robbery.
don't never look
All this
at
would
me.
leave him as a lost child with no father figure who even saw robbery as part of his DNA. That's a heavy situation for an 8-year-old kid to be dealing with. And with no father figure in his life, YoungBoy would have to rely on the females in his family to look after him and make him a man. Despite his mother Sharonda Golden being alive, she apparently wasn't there for YoungBoy as a child at all times. So, he would initially be raised by his loving grandmother Alice Golden, but unfortunately, YoungBoy's grandmother would pass away too, leaving him devastated for years to come. YoungBoy would open up about the loss of his grandmother in a Billboard interview in 2023, calling her his protector. After losing his grandmother, with his father in jail and his mother out of the picture, YoungBoy wound up in a group home, and it would be here that he would be subject to physical abuse and bullying. He would later explain in a Billboard interview that it was this experience of being targeted in the group home that led him to cultivate his own dark and violent side for protection. Clearly, YoungBoy had to fight for survival as a child. In fact, he actually broke his neck whilst he was wrestling as a toddler. This was a serious injury which required him to wear a...
Ain't no way there's an actual picture, my nigga.
full neck and head brace whilst his spine healed. This was a corrective procedure which left him with the 3 iconic head scars that he has on his head to this day, an everyday reminder on his face of just one painful incident that he endured as a child, and something his enemies are still quick to use against him, with the hurtful moniker Deadhead often being levied against him. YoungBoy had gone through so many traumatic experiences as a child, it's unsurprising that he would grow up dealing with a lot of pain. But even outside of the tragedies in his own family, YoungBoy would also suffer losses outside the home. When he was just age 10, he would end up losing one of his closest childhood friends to gun violence. As a child, YoungBoy was friends with another boy who was around 6 years older than him, a boy by the name of David Cobb, aka Lil Dave. On March the 27th, 2010, a memorial picnic was being held at a park on Woodpecker Street in Scotlandville in Baton Rouge. This event was intended to honour the memory of local teens who had lost their lives to gun violence. But unfortunately, the very thing that this event was intending to shed a light on would end up happening that same day, because at some point, a fight broke out and bullets started flying. One of those bullets hit 16-year-old David Cobb in the spine, and despite there being hundreds of witnesses, this case would ultimately go on unsolved, partly due to a fear in the community of retaliation against those who would be seen as a snitch for speaking to law enforcement. As a result, the family of Lil Dave would be left grieving without closure, heartbroken that their child lost his life at an event that was intended to honour teens losing their lives to gun violence. And it wasn't just Dave's family who were devastated by this loss. YoungBoy himself would be distraught and traumatised by losing a friend to gun violence so young. He would go on to rap about the loss of Lil Dave and the effect that it had on him years later. YoungBoy would rap on the song For Keeps with Rich the Kid that Dave was killed by a chopper or machine gun and that he wishes he could call him. Also, on the aptly named song Homicide, YoungBoy expresses his desire to get revenge and kill the person who took Dave's life, as well as saying that he knows Lil Dave is still with him on the song Poor One. On the song Cage Feeling, YoungBoy speaks about the death of Lil Dave, saying that this loss turned his heart cold and made him become a killer. The fact that YoungBoy was no stranger to loss of friends and family at such a young age just goes to show you the kind of environment he was growing up in, and the factors that coerced him into the kind of lifestyle he would go on to live. But YoungBoy was already being influenced by the streets. He would actually later rap in the song Life that Lil Dave was the person who taught him how to smoke, shoot dice, and get money for sneakers. He also said that he felt life began getting crazy for him when Lil Dave was killed. In the song Better Man, YoungBoy would claim to be tormented by the image of Lil Dave's
I remember this part.
And on the track How I'm Living, he would vow to make the people responsible bleed for what they did today. Later on the unreleased track Hold 13, that appeared only in a trailer for his hit album Top, YoungBoy would rap a lyric which some believe is him actually confessing that when he made his first $20,000, he spent it on a hitman to get revenge on Lil Dave's killer. With this traumatic and personal loss, combined with his family's reputation when it came to robberies, It's no surprise then that as a young teenager, YoungBoy dropped out of school in the 9th grade and got heavily involved in the streets, becoming a teenage robber just like his father and uncle. YoungBoy would later tell DJ Small's Eyes in an interview that after his grandmother died, he started robbing himself and ultimately wound up in jail for a robbery at just age 14.
I grew up stealing, taking from people. Like, well, at first,
This nigga a little ass kid, bro. Bro, like, if y'all really peep, this nigga like been in the game since like 16 years old. Do you know how? And same thing for NLE Chopper, bro. This is crazy. Like, I remember watching this video, but nigga, like, now looking back on it, bro, this nigga should be in 10th or 9th grade right now. In the damn, God, this nigga was young as hell.
When my grandma died, started catching my attention at a younger age. See, I got booked for robbery at my age 14.
Ultimately, YoungBoy found himself in a youth detention center for this
Why are you
robbery.
seem kind of proud?
Perhaps this would be a blessing in disguise, as while he was incarcerated, he would claim to have found his purpose in life, beginning to write music and using that as a way to express himself and cope with the pains of life, vowing to become an artist rather than a criminal.
I ain't gonna say it was the best thing that happened to me. It helped me know my purpose. It helped me know what I want to do. Within them 6 months, I wrote at least like 25 songs with no beats. It was basically what I was going through, how I was feeling. It helped me learn how to express myself.
YoungBoy's family were actually always interested in music. YoungBoy claimed to have written his own obscene rap lyrics in the 4th grade, and he had apparently been taken to the studio by his mother, who herself was also an aspiring rapper. And his father had even written to him from jail, telling him that he had been writing music during his 55-year sentence, and encouraging YoungBoy to focus on music too. So, upon his release from jail for robbery, YoungBoy would return to 38th Street with little more than just a dream of becoming a rapper, along with a lifetime of trauma. And before he could get anywhere with his rap career, he would at least need a stable environment to live in. Luckily, he ended up finding a new place in the neighborhood to call home, with YoungBoy rapping on the song Life that he met his friend 33 riding his bike down Chippewa, and that 33's mother accepted him into their home like family. According to 33, him and YoungBoy are essentially brothers, as the two grew up with the same mother, Monique. But Monique is really 33's biological mother, as we know that YoungBoy is the biological son of Sharonda Golden. But due to the fact that 33's mother, Monique, helped raise YoungBoy, he often refers to her as his mother as well, which would make 33 his adopted brother, and the two do seem to have a relationship that is stronger than most real brothers. And because of this, the two basically just say they're real brothers.
You said you knew him since you were 4?
Since when?
Because you guys are brothers, and you were born around each other,
Yeah.
so it's like you don't have any memories of not knowing him.
No, it's like you know how both our daddies are, split up, you know what I'm saying? So we got the same moms. It's like, man, really, I started making music with my brother. Just really inspired me to go in the booth, because it really wasn't about me. It was really about YoungBoy, and I was pushing him. And one day he just told me, man, look, come do this with me. And he pushed me to go in the booth, and I just took a liking into it, and that's where it really started from. So, shout out YB.
Meanwhile, YoungBoy's relationship with his own biological mother Sharonda was up and down during his childhood. Years down the line, he would open up about this on the song Lonely Child from his October 2019 project AI YoungBoy 2, when he says that even though he called 33's mother Monique his adopted mother, he still needs Sharonda in his life. Perhaps due to the lack of a real father figure growing up, meant that he had to rely on both of his mothers for emotional and mental support. But anyway, after getting out of juvenile and finding a new safe space to call home, YoungBoy's new spiritual brother 33 would be supportive of his aspirations as a rapper, and together this brotherly duo would get back to finessing on the streets to pay for studio time, eventually with YoungBoy getting enough recording time in to produce a full-length musical project. And by April the 10th, 2015, YoungBoy had released his first ever mixtape, Life Before Fame. This tape featured tracks like Homicide and Range Rover, which showed a 15-year-old YoungBoy truly had the skills to pay the bills early on. The album begins with an intro where YoungBoy mentions an affiliate of his named D-Dog catching a body. This sets the mood for the rest of the album, letting fans know straight away that YoungBoy had ties with the streets, despite the fact that he was technically still a child at this point. And in the same song, he gives us an insight into his torturous relationships and the reason behind why he finds it so hard to remain faithful to his partners, even at age 15. In the song I Know, YoungBoy begins to paint a menacing picture of his position in the local gang hierarchy, mentioning on 2 occasions how he can rely on another known NBA affiliate by the name of Lil Pap to go get him. A rash statement which shows that even at age 15, YoungBoy was really in the streets, with people around him that he could send to do dirty work. YoungBoy would also share his experience with Get Back and vengeance in this project. On the track Deal With It, he talks about how revenge was exacted on the person who killed his uncle, saying that they spotted the person who killed his uncle and that YoungBoy witnessed somebody put that person in a casket, and going on to say that the deceased man's brother is now after him. This is an important lyric, as it shows that even back when he was just 15 years old, people were dying around YoungBoy, being killed, and he was becoming a target himself, despite not being directly responsible for the violence that had played out. Elsewhere on this song, YoungBoy pledges his allegiance to a group called TBG, or Top Boy Gorilla. This is the first crew or record label that YoungBoy aligned himself with when he became a rapper, though unfortunately, as is often the case in the streets, over time, as YoungBoy's star rose, tension would brew between the members of TBG, arguing over who the next big rapper from the group would be, and eventually, what begun as a partnership would devolve into a deadly beef, with members of TBG picking their sides, and the feud escalating into an all-out gang war, with people being murdered on both sides, and years of heartbreak playing out on the streets and in the music. When YoungBoy left juvenile detention, inspired to become a rapper rather than a robber, it wouldn't take long for others to see the potential that this teenage rap prodigy had. From here, a group of people from his neighborhood, with ties to the music industry as well as the streets, would begin to take him under their wing. YoungBoy's first mixtape, Life Before Fame, was actually released under the banner of TBG, with YoungBoy and 3-3 being seen in throwback pictures rocking TBG merch. TBG stands for Top Boy Gorilla, a crew with a storied history in the wild and dangerous streets of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. TBG was supposedly started by deceased Louisiana native and affiliate of rap veteran Boosie, Little Ivy Smith. He would turn out to be the uncle of future TBG rap prospect Lit Yoshi, but more on him later. Now, Lil Ivy was sadly killed in an unsolved triple homicide back in 2005. However, at this early stage in the game, YoungBoy was nothing more than a promising young prospect to these Baton Rouge rap OGs. The older members of TBG were looking to find the next up-and-coming rap rookie who could potentially be the next homegrown rap star to come out of Baton Rouge. And at the time, the real crown jewels of the TBG squad were a couple of rappers known as G Money and Fredo Bang, who around the time were picking up steam with their song iPhone 6 alongside Boulevard Mel and YMM Captain. You can tell that YoungBoy was truly close with the TBG crew at this point because YoungBoy even appeared in the background of the iPhone 6 music video, at one point handing a Gucci bag to Fredo Bang, a moment that would honestly be inconceivable in what would later become a deadly and bitter beef. As the story goes, the TBG crew had ties to Baton Rouge's criminal underworld, and rappers and affiliates of the TBG crew were still involved in the local drug trade. Unfortunately, soon some of this street beef would end up souring things on the music side, because the TBG crew supposedly had a beef going with another Baton Rouge crew called BBG, or Bottom Boy Gorillas. Gang, crew, clique, record label, call them whatever you want, but BBG and TBG were bitter enemies, with a big rumour at one point going around that YoungBoy's cousin Boozilla, who was affiliated with BBG, ended up in a bitter disagreement with G Money from TBG. Now, there's been intense speculation over the years as to what was the exact cause of this beef. Some have suggested that Boozilla ran off with money or drugs from G Money, whilst others suggest that the whole drama was actually over a woman. Another explanation even suggests that it was actually YoungBoy himself who stole money from G Money, but actually blamed the finesse on his cousin Boozilla, as Boozilla was seen on Twitter disavowing his own family at one point, and G Money seemingly indicating that this rumour was true on his diss track Industry, where he claimed that YoungBoy had him looking for Boozilla with a gun, and saying that Boozilla actually wanted to kill YoungBoy over this whole situation. There's even an old clip circulating that showed Boozilla and BBG affiliate Baby Joe seemingly posted up with guns looking for YoungBoy and saying F NBA.
NBA. Yeah, pull up. What up, Baby Joe? Pull that up.
This was unusual because previously Boozilla had claimed to be a member of the group NBA and even at one point referred to himself as NBA Boosie. Now, I'll explain to you what NBA means in a minute, but just bear with me. Because meanwhile, as that personal beef was developing, another more professional beef was emerging between YoungBoy and the TBG crew. According to some, at a certain point YoungBoy got frustrated with the TBG label. This was likely due to the fact that he wasn't necessarily getting the money or shine that he thought he deserved from the crew, with their main focus being on building the careers of G Money and Fredo Bang rather than investing in YoungBoy. So at some point, YoungBoy and 3-3 would leave TBG, starting their own crew. Initially, 3-3 and YoungBoy wanted a group based on YoungBoy's initials, Kentrell Golden, or KG. Since KG also means kilograms, the initial idea was to call their crew Weight Gang, another reference to the drug gang.
At first his name was like KG, but then we got, like, that's where the Weight Gang come from, but
what did KG stand for?
Like his initials. That's,
okay.
that's his name. But Weight Gang was one of the first things he had came up with.
But clearly that name wasn't really hitting the spot. So later on, a few of the members of this crew were just chilling, sitting on their porch, when YoungBoy apparently vowed that he was not trying to go broke no more, to which other members of the crew agreed the same thing, with this pledge giving the crew inspiration to name themselves Never Broke Again, or NBA.
That
Like
shit
when we was
tough.
on the porch one day, it was like, I ain't trying to go broke no more. And then he was like, I ain't trying to go broke neither, so we never broke again. Like, you know what I'm saying? From day one, that's where NBA started from. Like,
So the NBA crew was born, naturally taking some inspiration from the National Basketball Association. They would even make their logo the Jumpman, the iconic logo affiliated with basketball legend Michael Jordan dunking basketball. But for Never Broke Again, their version would be a man jumping up in the air holding a pistol. YoungBoy's NBA crew...
Okay, this is what I need to know. Did a nigga actually like jump up and like how did y'all get this fucking pose? Wait, how did y'all get this pose, bro? Who did this in the air? Cause this nigga clearly got a cut. So it's a black male. So I just want to know, did YoungBoy like hop up in the air with the gun? Like where did this pose come from? I just need to know. That's all I need. That's all I
to go
need.
from pistol-toting stick-up kids to music industry heavy hitters being paid as much as professional basketball players. Now, whether or not you like the name, there was no denying that the meaning behind it was powerful. And together, the Never Broke Again crew rallied around YoungBoy, vowing to do whatever it took to take him to the top and make sure that they as a group
Yeah.
never go broke again.
Yeah.
So before we dive any deeper into the goings-on of
I
the
like
Never
that.
Broke Again crew, let's just take a quick look at some of the main members of that collective so that you can follow everything that's about to go down in this long and complicated story.
Alright, y'all. This the last one. Hold on. How long is this motherfucker? How long? Alright, y'all. This the last one. And then we're gonna come with part 2 if y'all want a part 2. Let's go ahead and get into it. Me NBA. Come on. Let me put my seat up.
YoungBoy is of course the face of Never Broke Again, the NBA collective. He is the label's leading rapper. And this crew's bet on getting behind YoungBoy's career would ultimately end up paying off handsomely. And with his crew's support, he would go on to become one of the biggest artists in the entire world. Then there's OG33, NBA's co-founder, who started the group along with YoungBoy and Montana.
I started NBA, you know, like, it was then, like, YoungBoy just was really, like, the main one who was rapping. Like, I don't really take rapping serious, because, like, YoungBoy really made me rap.
After 33's mother took YoungBoy in as one of her own, they would build a bond as strong as blood brothers.
We got the same moms, like that.
OG33 is one of 10 children, 5 kids from his mother's side, 5 from his father's side. But he's the oldest of all of them, which has led to him having a mature outlook and a real head on his shoulders, as he's almost had to act like a father figure for YoungBoy and his other siblings.
And there's 10 kids altogether, right?
Yeah.
5 from your mom,
Yeah,
5 from your dad.
Yeah. On both sides, I'm close with all my brothers and sisters, because I'm the oldest, so it's just like...
You're almost like a father figure, in
Yeah,
a way.
yeah,
Is that a lot of responsibility?
yeah, for sure, but, you know, that's just my role, so it's just, I took on my role.
When YoungBoy didn't really want to rap at first, it was 33 that pushed him and made sure that he stuck with it.
The best thing you
dedicating his
did,
life
nigga.
to elevating YoungBoy's career and keeping him on the right path.
I always was the one that always pushed him, like, cause he didn't really want to rap at first, but then, like, once I really found out, like, he was gonna be that, like, I pushed him even more harder. Like, I was getting like, I went back to, like, record companies was doing, like, I was getting 1,000 CDs printed up, like, man, I didn't got them 1,000 CDs and really passed them out, like, just a matter of minutes, like, this, that.
It's 3 who pulls the strings and make the moves behind the scenes, keeping the ship sailing smoothly and ensuring that the NBA collective runs efficiently and profitably. He apparently would manage the business side of things, sometimes writing contracts or putting shows together.
I was more on, like, the business and management, like, writing contracts and, you know, putting shows together for him. Like, when we first started off, I was doing really everything, you know.
And YoungBoy apparently even inspired OG3 to start making his own music, because before, 3 was just mainly focused on pushing YoungBoy's career.
If it wasn't for YB walking me into the booth, I wouldn't even be in the music, because I was just mainly pushing him. It wasn't even about me.
Now, 33 does enjoy rapping, but he's also a self-proclaimed CEO, and business is
I like
apparently
that.
where his passion lies.
Yeah.
My main focus is it wouldn't be a career. I wouldn't choose rap as a career because I am a CEO and I love my position.
But 3 has also gained a cult following of his own from being the head honcho of the NBA crew. And considering the dark reputation that has followed YoungBoy over the many deadly years of his career, this has led to many internet fanboys speculating on whether OG3 is the true mastermind behind the violence playing out in Baton Rouge, with many Reddit posts circulating, constantly speculating on how many deaths that 3-3 might be responsible for, even sometimes
I ain't gonna lie, the Dick Ryan was crazy. But that nigga said, you can see, wait, hold on, I don't wanna go too far back, my nigga. Hold on.
Of course, that, like, we shouldn't be doing a lot of things, and you know he listens, so it's like, I always was that type of person. I always was that.
Hold on, my nigga.
Kind of like the voice of
the true mastermind behind the violence playing out in Baton Rouge, with many Reddit posts.
This nigga said you could look in his eyes until he with it. Nigga, if you don't stop, but man, you bouncing and bouncing, but this ain't no damn bouncy house, but this nigga is doing tricks. Nigga, tricks are for kids. Nigga, chill.
Circulating, constantly speculating on how many deaths that 3-3 might be responsible for, even sometimes referring to him as the Grim Threeper. But it's unclear if that's just straight trolling, because in reality, OG3 has always tried to look out and take care of YoungBoy and keep him on the straight and narrow, acting as the voice of reason in his life.
That's my baby brother. I always look out for him. I always take care of him. But like, I don't ever expect him to do nothing bad. But he don't do it intentionally. It might be on accident. But I always talk to him and enforce that like we shouldn't be doing a lot of things. And you know he listens. So it's like I always was that type of person. I always was that.
Kind of like the voice of reason for when he gets a little hot-headed. You're like, so that'll help calm him down. Cause he probably listen to you and he ain't trying to listen to a lot of random people.
Yeah, he ain't gonna listen to nobody. If it ain't me.
Then you've got Montana. According to a Billboard article profiling YoungBoy, Kyle Montana Clybourne found YoungBoy's music early on YouTube, and in the absence of a father figure or any real older male role model in his family, it seems like Montana assumed a kind of father figure role for YoungBoy in the early stages of his life and career, giving him guidance on how to survive the gritty streets of North Baton Rouge. In fact, in the song Lonely Child from his October 2019 project AI YoungBoy 2, YoungBoy admits that he has been missing his father, and as a result, he actually calls Montana his father. Montana would help co-found the Never Broke Again label along with YoungBoy and 3-3, with interviews explaining that in the early days of NBA, YoungBoy would be sleeping on an air mattress at Montana's house, at a time when Montana played the role of manager, booking agent, and financier, driving YoungBoy all around the South to perform for between $500 and $1,500 a show to build his fan base in the early days. However, there's always been confusion over exactly who YoungBoy's manager specifically is, and to be fair, it has changed over the years. For a period of time, YoungBoy's manager was a man by the name of Big Dump. Sometimes referred to as YoungBoy's manager or agent, it was Dump who was there for YoungBoy during the most turbulent years of his come up. But Dump would ultimately end up losing his life in 2018, seemingly as a direct result of the deadly street beef between these two warring Baton Rouge gang sets. But we'll go much deeper into that situation later on in the story. Another person who played a significant role on the management side is someone called Fee Banks, a Louisiana industry legend who had apparently helped Lil Wayne start Young Money and previously managed Kevin Gates. These people are the brains and administrators behind the NBA empire. And then, when it comes to the rapping side, we have a number of NBA members with a much closer proximity to the streets. Now, there's a lot of names that have been affiliated with this crew over the years, and this list is by no means a definitive list of everyone who has had something to do with NBA as a crew, so don't be offended if you got left off. But these are just some of the people who have played a major role in YoungBoy's crew, and who play a relevant role in today's story. I'm talking about people like NBA Ben 10. This is OG3's younger blood cousin and a day one NBA affiliate. Ben met YoungBoy at 3's house, and apparently the two had a fight the first time that they met.
Man, 3 first cousins, blood. Like, we used to stay together. His mom used to live together, so that's how I met 3. I met them at 3 house. We had a fight. Same day, you heard me?
But apparently after this fight, they would share a blunt and become good friends, going on to make money and catch cases together since they were just 12 years old.
We smoked the blunt, you heard me? Yeah, I became part of the NBA same day. Just like that.
How old I was like around that time?
I'd say probably when I turned 12 or 12.
Ben has been a key part of the collective since day one, with a huge presence on social media, particularly Instagram, where he would give exclusive insights and snippets into the world of Never Broke Again. 10 still posts regularly on Instagram despite his original account having been taken down, and he's even seen some recent success in his own right as a rapper, with songs such as Pain and Walking Dead amassing over 1 million views each. But he's also a loose cannon, and not somebody to be messed with. He was seen on IG Live with YoungBoy, Baby Joe, and other NBA members playing with guns, with Ben 10 letting off shots on IG Live, causing Baby Joe to duck for cover. BBG Baby Joe is another one of YoungBoy's cousins, who despite his young age, has lived through a lot, including a bullet to the face.
You know, you guys were on the freeway. I think it was you and two friends, and a car opened fire on you guys.
We were leaving Walmart. Everybody went and got some cake and ice cream for my baby for his birthday. And I walk out Walmart, I see this and then we didn't get, I ain't get shot on the interstate. I don't know where people get their information from. I just tried to was at the light, and then it just went like that. You know what I mean?
Despite facing serious danger in the streets, Baby Joe has been aiming to make a name for himself in the music industry and make himself some legitimate money. His 2018 song, Iraq, has over 5 million views. And as a beloved member of the NBA crew, Joe's name often pops up in YoungBoy's songs. And if these lyrics are anything to go by, it seems that Joe's relationship with the streets remains strong. Another key member of the crew is Michi Baby. Well known as YoungBoy's raspy-voiced big cousin, he's best known for his early 2000s style song Cutlass, as well as his 2020 track with YoungBoy, Talk My... A track which has amassed an impressive 47 million views at the time of recording. YoungBoy has talked about hitting licks and doing burglaries with his older cousin Michi on numerous occasions in his lyrics, leading some listeners to think that it was perhaps Michi who had influenced YoungBoy's involvement with the streets in his early life. Then of course you have Big B, who picked up a lot of attention for his fire verse on the NBA posse cut, That Gang, which picked up over 5 million views and also featured 3-3 and KD. Big B exhibits a more conventional rapping style compared to some other members of the NBA crew, with less laid-back melodies and catchy hooks, and more hard-hitting bars and punchy refrains delivered with aggressiveness and energy on the mic. There's NBA KD. He's known musically for his versatility and distinct flow, as well as a standout performance on the song That Gang. He also popped up with a verse on the song Extortion with Big B and 3-3, a track which got over 2 million views. His biggest solo track is the 2018 song When I Wake Up, and KD showed a lot of promise and potential in the early years of rap. Unfortunately, his momentum was derailed by a life-changing injury getting shot in 2019. Reportedly, after this incident, KD was confined to a wheelchair. However, there's been a lot of speculation as to whether he was walking again after a period of rehabilitation. Whilst that's not been confirmed, since the incident, he has remained firmly behind the scenes, but is a beloved member of NBA. Another major member of the crew is Herm the Black Sheep. Musically, fans appreciate Herm for his real and authentic lyrics and subject matter rather than his style or flow on the mic. And if the content of his lyrics are to be believed, he is certainly not one to be messed with. In the same vein, there's also Who Gang D, aka Lil D, or Scully. This is another cousin of YoungBoy with a serious reputation in the streets and his own budding rap career, with his catchy double-meaning titled song, Can't Go to Sleep, running up 1.6 million views at the time of this writing. Interestingly though, D wasn't even aware that he was YoungBoy's cousin when they first became friends, apparently only finding out later through his mother and grandfather.
That's crazy.
I didn't know he was my cousin at first.
Oh, really?
See, I was thugging with 3
Okay.
at first. And then my mama had texted me like, when I was with him for a whole month straight, with YB for a month, she had texted me, she was like, she talked to my papa, and he told her that I had a cousin named NBA YoungBoy that rap.
Nah, that's crazy.
You get what I'm saying? She was like, for real, that's crazy, he already be hanging with him.
He's apparently the survivor of a gunshot wound to the neck, with YoungBoy having dropped numerous lyrics complimenting D as a reliable shooter, even going as far in the song Bring the Hook to label him a headshot special.
Nigga, he said that when he see that red being headshot, that's a Skilly's. Okay, Lil D, that's my. Oh, Lil D, that's my. That nigga did say, Lil D, that's my cousin, man. See, y'all, that's why you gotta pay attention. You can't just be listening. You gotta really listen. Like, you can't just listen, just like, okay. You gotta listen, like, you gotta take. My bad.
This is a skill that D himself all but admitted in his off-the-porch interview.
Wow.
I think the nickname Scully.
From this tattoo, I'm just saying like that. The gun, shooting the score.
Yeah.
It's good.
He's got a promising rap career, a likable personality, and a big potential to be a star on the mic if he can stay out of trouble. You've also got Lil Pap, Ben 10's little brother and a known shooter for the NBA crew in the streets. YoungBoy has mentioned him as being active in the streets in numerous songs, labeling him specifically as somebody who YoungBoy can call on for certain favors. And he recently got 5 years for his apparent involvement in the murder of TBG rival rapper G Money, which we will discuss in detail shortly. There's also NBA Chopper Boy, a big man with a big range in his vocals, bringing a great singing voice to the mic that serves to provide a canvas for his dark and menacing lyrics. Then you've got Barber, one of YoungBoy's frequently referenced shooters. Like that, Baba, or Baba Osama, is mentioned quite a bit in some of YoungBoy's most violent songs, with YoungBoy even rapping on the track Carter's Son that he calls up Baba to get the guns and go and rob people for him. Now, Baba has a pretty extensive rap sheet demonstrating just how active he was in the streets, and he's currently locked up on murder charges. But these aren't your average murder charges. It's actually been reported that Baba Osama is facing a whopping 9 counts of murder, with some recent posts on social media even suggesting that Baba Osama was actively working as a gang assassin or hitman, engaging in murder for hire for numerous gangs. Now, that's not necessarily everybody that's been involved with YoungBoy's NBA crew over the years, but they are the people that we'll be talking about most extensively in today's story. Clearly, YoungBoy's NBA crew are a group of young men coming out of some of the most difficult streets that the Deep South has to offer. Clearly, some of these guys aren't afraid to break the law and even kill to protect what's theirs. Whether that's their own lives, the lives of those around them, or the life of their top breadwinner, YoungBoy. The NBA crew are truly willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that they indeed never go broke again. However, there's been a lot of confusion over the years, because as well as NBA, there's another group that YoungBoy and other NBA members shout out a lot, and that's 4K Trey, or 4KT. It would appear that while YoungBoy started his record label in the name NBA, or Never Broke Again, his affiliations to actual gangs in the streets of Baton Rouge goes by another name. YoungBoy has dropped numerous lyrics where he claims to be a member of the gang 4K Trey, who sometimes refer to themselves as Slimes. He's also made numerous references to being in America's infamous Blood Gang. Now, slime is a decades-old term that has been associated over the years with Blood Gang members. This term was initially brought to the public's attention by Blood rapper Vado, who released numerous projects that would reference slime, with the usage of the Blood slang slime and slat being popularized in mainstream modern rap music by Atlanta Blood rapper Young Thug, who is currently incarcerated awaiting trial for gang-affiliated charges. Now, this slime ideology essentially sees Blood members identifying under the color green rather than the traditional red bandana that Blood members are known to wear. And as YoungBoy got further into the music industry, he would seemingly build close relationships with other rappers who were known to affiliate with the Blood Gang or identified as slime. People like Birdman, 21 Savage, and Young Thug himself. And as the years went by, YoungBoy would increasingly use his lyrics and music videos to shout out his affiliations to 4K Trey, the Blood Gang, or Slimes, even naming his Never Broke Again label compilation album Green Flag Activity, along with him and his crew frequently being seen in public with nothing but slime green bandanas and blue clothing. They would also sometimes refer to each other as fours for 4K Trey. However, for the specific explanation of the gang's name 4K Trey, this has been a mystery that has sparked debate amongst NBA fans for years. One popular theory is that it simply means 4 Kentrell, and that his 4KT gang are killing or shooting specifically for YoungBoy, or Kentrell. Another popular theory claims that 4KT actually stands for Forever Killing Them, a more general rallying cry against their odds. Other people think that 4KT actually relates to the names of YoungBoy's first children, with the first 4 of their names beginning with K and 1 beginning with T, with this being a more vanilla interpretation of the gang's name, suggesting that 4KT is a way of YoungBoy saying that he's essentially doing what he does for his children, whose initials are K and T. Another explanation circulates suggesting that 4KT actually means 4 Crazy Trey. This is a reference to Crazy Trey, a young man from Baton Rouge who was gunned down at a party in 2014. He was apparently close friends with one of YoungBoy's biggest enemies from Baton Rouge, Fredo Bang, a detail which has led many to suggest that this actually couldn't possibly be the true meaning of 4K Trey, with some outright denying this explanation, suggesting that YoungBoy had not even yet associated with Fredo Bang at the time 4KT was founded. There's yet another theory that 4KT actually refers to YoungBoy's cousin Boozilla, who was killed in 2016, as his real name was Keandre, with a suggestion that 4K Trey actually was originally 4K Dre, or Keandre, but the Dre over time ended up being changed to Trey. Now look, at this stage, it's unclear exactly what 4K Trey stands for, but in the end, perhaps we aren't supposed to know the real meaning. And the idea that the true origins of this gang that YoungBoy supposedly affiliates with being shrouded in secrecy kind of makes perfect sense. After all, YoungBoy's artist Quando Rondo would even say in his song Way Up that he actually threw a girl out just for even asking what 4K Trey meant. Clearly it's a secret, and and clearly I'm not supposed to know, which means you are definitely not supposed to know. But now you know the city, the gangs, the label, and the people behind the music, let's take a closer look at the story, the incredible ups, the devastating downs, and the lessons to be learned from YoungBoy's one-of-a-kind career and life journey.
Alright, y'all, that's the end. I told y'all that's the end. If y'all want part 2, let me know, bro. If y'all enjoyed this part 1, hey, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all boys and girls next part if y'all want me to come in part 2. But I'll see y'all next video. We out.